touching upon the women entrepreneurship strategy, in an order paper question I received from you, Minister, on June 20th, you outlined that it represents a whole of government approach, including 20 different federal departments, agencies, and crown corporations. In your opening remarks, you also referenced the fact that some of the key criteria relate to scaling businesses and creating new businesses. So given that you led off with that, I'm assuming you believe this program is a success, and maybe you can provide to the committee the number of jobs created since this program was launched in 2018, the number of businesses that have scaled or moved up from micro to scale business as a starting point. Thank you.
That's a good question. Yeah, we can certainly, already to date, I've already mentioned in my opening, we've been able to support 22,000 women entrepreneurs, 10,000 new, and many more others to grow.
That wasn't my question. My question was how many new businesses created and how many were scaled?
We can certainly, unless Etienne has that.
Thank you.
I believe it's in the vicinity of about 100,000 created, and we similar. And are you asking how many closed or how many scaled?
Well, both. How many businesses were created and how many were scaled under the funding under the WES?
Sure, we do have those numbers. I don't know if it's in, you have them handy. If not, we'll be happy to get them to you.
So we do have numbers. We'll get you the numbers for sure.
Thank you. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce Business Development Lab Q4 2023 Canadian Survey on Business Conditions reported that business sentiment is very low, and especially with underrepresented owners and micro firms having the weakest economic outlook. Would you agree with the findings of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce?
What I can say is yes, small business entrepreneurs are having a challenging time right now. They are experiencing a difficult time for sure. But again, as I've said, we've provided many different supports to help small businesses.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The report goes on to state that cost-related challenges remain the most pervasive near-term business obstacles. That includes payroll tax increases for small businesses, the carbon tax increase, and the carbon tax increase is two key points. Would you agree with the Prime Minister that the upcoming carbon tax increase is good for small businesses? And secondly, do you agree that the increased payroll taxes that were put on small businesses this year was the right move?
Thank you for that question. Again, we know that climate change is real and it has a real cost on small businesses. And when I visited the East Coast, I met with a small businesses who was negatively impacted by the hurricanes. Climate change is impacting businesses. At least 60% of them have been impacted by climate change, and we will continue to advocate for small businesses while also fighting for climate.
When the federal carbon tax was announced, the government promised $2.5 billion carbon tax rebate for small businesses. The CFIB has been very vocal as to why this program hasn't been delivered. Can you please answer?
So the program is currently being developed as we speak, and relevant small businesses will be able to receive those funds. And as soon as the announcement is able to be made by the minister, he will certainly do that.
The Statistics Canada currently, or just recently, outlined that more businesses are closing than are opening, and the Office of the Superintendent of Bankruptcy reported that business insolvencies have increased 41% in 2023 to 2022. This represents one of the largest increases in a generation. If your government's approach is actually working, what are your officials telling you about these really alarming statistics coming from Statistics Canada?
What I can tell you is, small businesses are experiencing challenges, but again, we're lowering taxes for small businesses, doing everything we can to help support them. But
what taxes are you lowering?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that question. I'll pass it over to my officials who have the answer to that question.
Sure, tax policies will be sort of more appropriately sent to Department of Finance rather than us. What we can say, though, is what we saw during the pandemic was actually...
just specifically, what taxes are you lowering?
10 seconds.
Tax policy would be a matter for the Department of Finance, who'd be in a better position to answer.